What if being a good woman is not enough to make a man choose you? Sometimes, the very qualities you believe should make you irresistible can quietly push the wrong man away. And the truth is far deeper than beauty, loyalty, or kindness. Stay with me, because I'll reveal the 7 reasons, and by the end, you'll understand what truly makes a relationship worthy of your presence. Number 1. She gives too much before trust is earned. There is a kind of kindness that comes from wisdom, and there is another kind of kindness that comes from fear. Wisdom says, I will give, but I will also observe. Fear says, if I give enough, perhaps you will stay. And these two may look exactly the same from the outside. A woman may be loving, loyal, generous, patient, understanding, and deeply caring. She may answer every call, forgive every mistake, support every dream, and make herself available whenever a man needs her. She may believe she is showing him how good she can be. But there is something she may not realize. Love is not measured by how much you can give. It is also measured by whether the other person has earned what you are giving. This is where many good women become exhausted. They give emotional support before emotional trust has been established. They give loyalty before commitment has been demonstrated. They give access to their time, body, attention, resources, and deepest emotions before they truly know the character of the person standing in front of them. And then, when the relationship becomes painful, they ask, after everything I have done for him, why doesn't he value me? Because giving is not the same as creating value. Let me explain. Imagine you meet someone for the first time. You know almost nothing about him. You don't know how he behaves when he is angry. You don't know whether he keeps his promises. You don't know how he treats people who cannot benefit him. You don't know whether he respects boundaries. You don't know whether his words match his actions. Yet you immediately begin giving him everything a person normally receives after trust has been built. Why? Perhaps because you are trying to prove that you are different. You want him to see your heart. You want him to understand that you are not like the women he has met before. So you become extremely patient. He cancels plans and you understand. He disappears and you make excuses. He gives you mixed signals and you tell yourself he is confused. He gives little and you give more. He becomes distant and you become even more available. Slowly, without realizing it, you begin carrying the emotional weight of a relationship that has not yet become a real relationship. And this is where wisdom must enter. You should not punish someone for being imperfect, but neither should you reward someone for repeatedly giving you less than you deserve. There is a great difference between compassion and self-abandonment. Compassion says, I understand that you are human. Self-abandonment says, because you are human, I will accept anything. Those are not the same. A mature relationship does not require two perfect people. It requires two people who are willing to be responsible for their behavior. That means if a man says he cares about you, his actions should gradually support those words. If he says he wants to know you, he should make an effort to know you. If he says he respects you, your boundaries should not become obstacles he tries to overcome. If he says he wants a future with you, you should eventually see some evidence of that intention. Not perfection, evidence. In relationships, do not judge love by promises alone. Watch what happens consistently, because anyone can speak beautifully. Anyone can make you feel special for an evening. Anyone can send long messages. Anyone can say, I have never met someone like you. But character reveals itself over time, and time is not your enemy, time is your teacher. A woman who understands this does not rush to give everything. She allows a man to reveal himself. She watches how he behaves when things do not go his way. She watches whether he takes responsibility when he makes a mistake. She watches whether he respects her. No. She watches whether he is kind only when he wants something. She watches whether he can communicate when there is conflict. And most importantly, she watches whether his presence brings peace or constant confusion. This does not mean becoming cold. It means becoming conscious. You can be warm without being naive. You can be loving without becoming available to everyone. You can have compassion without becoming someone's emotional rescue system. And you can have a beautiful heart while still having strong boundaries. There is another hidden danger in giving too much too early. You may accidentally teach someone that access to you requires no effort. When everything is immediately available, the other person never has the opportunity to demonstrate whether he is willing to build something. Think about it. If you always initiate, he never has to initiate. If you always forgive without discussing the problem, he never learns accountability. If you always rearrange your life around him, he never learns to respect your time. If you always solve his problems, he never learns to stand on his own feet. And eventually something strange happens. You begin to feel that you are doing everything. He begins to feel that this is simply how the relationship works. And resentment grows. You may think he has changed, but sometimes the deeper truth is that the pattern was created long before the resentment appeared. This is not about blaming a woman. It is about understanding behavior. People learn what is acceptable through repeated experience. When you consistently tolerate something, you may unintentionally communicate that it is acceptable. That does not make his behavior your fault, but it does mean you have the power to change what you participate in. And that power begins with a simple question. Am I giving from love, or am I giving because I am afraid that if I stop giving, he will leave? That question can expose a great deal. If you give because you genuinely want to, there is freedom in it. If you give because you fear abandonment, there is anxiety underneath it. And love built on fear eventually becomes a transaction. You give, hoping to receive security. You forgive, hoping to receive commitment. You sacrifice, hoping to receive appreciation. You become endlessly understanding, hoping he will finally understand your worth. But love cannot be forced into existence through sacrifice. You cannot make someone value you by continuously proving your value. Your worth is not a debt someone owes you because you suffered for them. This is why a wise woman does not ask, "How much more can I give?" She asks, "What is being built between us? Is there mutual effort? Is there respect? Is there honesty? Is there emotional safety? Is there growth? Is there reciprocity?" Because a healthy relationship is not one person pouring water into an empty cup forever. It is two people bringing water to the same place, and there is something deeply powerful about learning to pause. When you meet someone, you do not need to give him your entire heart immediately. Let connection develop, let trust develop, let consistency speak, let time reveal character. You don't need to test him with games. You don't need to manipulate him. You don't need to pretend to be unavailable. You simply need to stop giving what has not yet been earned. That is not punishment. That is discernment. And discernment is one of the quietest forms of self-respect. But there is an even deeper problem hidden underneath excessive giving. Sometimes a woman is not giving because she loves too much. She is giving because she wants to feel needed. And when being needed becomes more important than being loved, a completely different pattern begins. That is where the second truth appears. 2. She confuses being needed with being loved. There is a powerful feeling that comes from being needed. Someone calls you when he has a problem. He asks for your advice. He depends on your emotional support. He tells you that nobody understands him like you do. And suddenly, you feel important. You feel special. You feel that your place in his life is secure. But listen carefully. Being needed and being loved are not the same thing. Someone can need what you provide without truly valuing who you are. A man may need your comfort. He may need your attention. He may need your money. He may need your connections. He may need your emotional strength. He may need you to repair the consequences of his choices. But none of these automatically mean he loves you. Love asks a different question. Love asks, "Who are you when you are not doing something for me?" This is where many intelligent, generous women become trapped. They become the caretaker, the fixer, the therapist, the motivator, the problem solver, the woman who always knows what to say, the woman who always picks up the pieces. And because she is so useful, she begins to believe she is irreplaceable. But usefulness is not intimacy. Someone can appreciate what you do and still fail to appreciate who you are. This distinction is essential. Imagine a man comes home after a difficult day. He knows you will listen. He knows you will calm him. He knows you will tell him everything will be okay. He knows that when he makes a mistake, you will help him recover. But when you are the one struggling, does he show the same presence? When you are tired, does he notice? When you need support, does he make space? When you are silent, does he ask what is happening inside you? When you are no longer giving, does he still want to know you? These questions reveal something important. A relationship should not only be built around what one person receives from the other. You deserve to be seen beyond your usefulness. You deserve to be loved when you are not solving anything. You deserve to sit quietly and still feel valuable. You deserve to have needs. You deserve to say, "Today, I cannot carry this." And the right person will not suddenly lose interest because you are no longer performing the role of emotional savior. This is why boundaries are so important. A boundary does not say, "I don't care about you." A boundary says, "I care about both of us, and I will not destroy myself to prove it." There is tremendous wisdom in that, because if your entire identity inside a relationship becomes the person who takes care of him, you may eventually lose the ability to ask whether he is taking care of you. You become so focused on his wounds that you stop noticing your own. You understand his childhood, you understand his fears, you understand his stress, you understand his difficult past, you understand why he behaves the way he does. But who is trying to understand you? Compassion is beautiful, but compassion without boundaries can become a prison. And sometimes the strongest thing you can do for another person is not rescue them. Let them experience the consequences of their choices. Let them solve problems that belong to them. Let them grow. Because when you constantly save someone, you may unintentionally prevent them from developing the strength they need. A healthy relationship is not one person carrying the other. It is two people learning how to walk together. There is another subtle sign that you may be confusing being needed with being loved. You feel anxious when he becomes independent. Why? Because his independence may feel like rejection. If he no longer needs your constant advice, you wonder whether he still values you. If he solves his own problems, you feel less important. If he becomes emotionally stronger, you worry that he might no longer need you. But this is where love must become more mature. The goal of love is not to make another person dependent on you. The goal is to help each other become more fully yourselves. A strong relationship should give both people room to grow. Think about two trees growing beside each other. They do not need to become one tree. They can stand beside one another. Their roots can grow deeply. Their branches can reach toward the same sky. And because they are strong individually, their closeness becomes a choice rather than a necessity. That is a healthier form of love. You do not stay because you cannot survive without him. He does not stay because he cannot function without you. You stay because even though you can stand alone, you choose to walk together. That is freedom. And freedom creates a very different kind of intimacy. It removes fear. It removes manipulation. It removes the hidden bargaining. I did this for you, so now you owe me. Instead, you begin giving because you genuinely want to contribute. And you begin receiving without guilt. This balance matters, because if you are always the giver, eventually you may become resentful. You may say, "After everything I have done, how could he treat me this way?" And perhaps your pain is completely understandable. But wisdom asks another question. Why did I keep giving after I saw that the exchange was not mutual? That question is not meant to create shame. It is meant to return your power to you. You cannot control whether another person appreciates you. You cannot force someone to become emotionally mature. You cannot make someone love you by becoming indispensable. But you can decide what kind of relationship you will participate in. You can stop confusing exhaustion with devotion. You can stop measuring your worth by how much someone needs you. And you can learn to recognize something far more meaningful: being chosen freely. There is a profound difference between someone saying, "I need you because you make my life easier," and someone saying through their actions, "I value you and I want you in my life even when I do not need anything from you." The second is much closer to genuine love, Because love is not simply dependence. Love is recognition. It is seeing another human being clearly. It is respecting their individuality. It is wanting their well-being even when there is nothing to gain. And this is why a woman should never reduce herself to the role of being useful. You are more than what you provide. You are more than the problems you solve. You are more than the comfort you offer. You are more than how patient you can be. Your value does not increase because someone has more problems for you to fix. And your value does not decrease because someone no longer needs your help. The deepest form of confidence comes when you can say, I am here because I choose to be here, not because I must earn my place. That changes everything. Your love becomes calmer, your boundaries become clearer, your relationships become more honest, and you begin to notice something you may have overlooked before. Sometimes, the reason a person does not value your presence is not because you are not valuable. It is because you have made your presence available without requiring mutual respect. When you understand that, you stop chasing recognition. You stop trying to convince someone of your worth. You simply observe. You give space for the other person to reveal whether they can meet you with the same sincerity, and that is where real wisdom begins. Because the healthiest relationship is not built when one person says, I will do everything for you. It is built when two people can say, I will walk beside you without losing myself. And once you understand that difference, you begin to see why a woman can be incredibly good, loving, loyal, and generous, and still end up in a relationship where she feels unseen. The problem is not that her heart is too soft. The problem is that she has not yet learned where her heart should stop giving and where her self-respect should begin. And when that boundary becomes clear, love stops being something you desperately try to secure and becomes something you consciously choose. She abandons her own identity to keep him. There is a very subtle moment in a relationship when love can begin to turn into self-abandonment. It rarely happens in one dramatic decision. It happens quietly. A woman stops doing something she loves because her partner does not like it. Then she stops seeing certain friends because he feels uncomfortable around them. Then she changes the way she dresses. Then she changes her plans. Then she changes her priorities. Then she becomes careful about what she says because she does not want to create conflict. And eventually, she looks into the mirror and realizes something frightening. She has spent so much time trying to become the woman he wants that she has forgotten the woman she was. This is one of the deepest mistakes a person can make in love, because love should bring two people closer, but it should not erase either person. There is a difference between compromise and self-abandonment. Compromise says, we are different, so sometimes I will move toward you, and sometimes you will move toward me. Self-abandonment says, your happiness matters so much that mine no longer matters. One creates partnership, the other creates imbalance. And imbalance may survive for a while, but eventually something inside the relationship begins to break. Perhaps the woman starts feeling unseen. Perhaps she becomes quietly resentful. Perhaps she thinks, after everything I sacrificed for him, why does he still not appreciate me? But there is a deeper question. What if he never asked you to become someone else? What if you changed yourself because you are afraid of losing him? This is where we have to be honest with ourselves. Sometimes we blame another person for the identity we slowly surrendered. We say, he made me stop being myself. Perhaps in some situations the truth is more complicated. Perhaps you were afraid that if you expressed your real opinions he would leave, afraid that if you said no he would become distant, afraid that if you had your own ambitions he would feel threatened, afraid that if you were independent he would no longer need you. So you became smaller, not because you were weak, but because you wanted to preserve the connection. And this is precisely where wisdom is needed. A relationship that requires you to disappear in order to survive is not giving you security. It is asking you to pay for love with your identity. That price is too high. Think about a tree. A healthy tree does not stop growing because another tree is growing beside it. It does not say, I must become smaller so that you can have all the sunlight. It grows toward the light, and the other tree grows toward the light. They may share the same soil, they may stand close together, their branches may touch, but each remains a tree. This is how two mature people should relate to one another. You can love someone deeply and still have your own mind. You can care for someone and still have your own dreams. You can be committed and still need solitude. You can build a life together without destroying the life that existed before the relationship. This is not selfishness, it is psychological health. Because when you abandon your identity for another person, you may believe you are creating closeness, but often you are creating dependence. You begin to think, if I am everything he wants, he will never leave me. But love does not become secure because you become perfect for someone. There is no perfect version of yourself that can guarantee another person's loyalty. You can be beautiful, you can be patient, you can be intelligent, you can be supportive, you can agree with everything, you can give everything, and someone can still choose to leave. This is painful, but it is also liberating, because once you understand this, you stop trying to control love through self-sacrifice. You realize, I cannot control whether someone stays, but I can control whether I remain true to myself while they are here. That is strength, and it changes the way you enter relationships. You no longer ask, what do I need to become so he will love me? You begin asking, can I be fully myself around this person and still be respected? That question is far more important, because if you cannot be yourself around someone, what exactly are you building? Perhaps you are building an arrangement. Perhaps you are building an image. Perhaps you are building a relationship based on performance. And performance is exhausting. At the beginning, you may enjoy it. You may think, I want to be the best partner I can be. But there is a difference between becoming a better version of yourself and becoming a different person. Becoming better means you grow. Becoming different means you hide. Growth adds to who you are. Hiding removes pieces of you. And sooner or later, the hidden parts begin asking to be seen. This is why some relationships appear peaceful on the outside, but are full of silent resentment inside. There are no major arguments, no dramatic betrayals. Everything looks fine, but one person has slowly stopped being alive within the relationship. She smiles, she agrees, she adjusts, she says, it's okay. But inside, she's becoming tired. And the most dangerous phrase in a relationship is sometimes not, I hate you. It is, it's okay. When it's okay really means, I don't want to argue. I don't want you to leave. I don't think my feelings matter. I have learned to suppress myself. That is not peace, that is silence. Real peace does not require the disappearance of your voice. A healthy relationship can survive disagreement. In fact, it must. Because two people who never disagree may not have intimacy. They may simply have avoidance. Real intimacy means you can say, I see this differently. And the other person does not immediately threaten the relationship. You can say, I need some time alone. And the other person does not interpret it as rejection. You can say, this behavior hurts me. And the other person becomes curious rather than defensive. You can have a boundary and the relationship remains. This is emotional maturity. But there is another side to this problem. Sometimes a woman loses herself because she believes that being a good partner means always being agreeable. She thinks, if I love him, I should understand him. Yes, but understanding does not mean agreeing with everything. You can understand someone's pain without accepting harmful behavior. You can understand someone's past without allowing their past to control your future. You can understand why someone is angry without allowing them to disrespect you. You can understand someone's insecurity without becoming responsible for fixing it. This distinction is powerful. Understanding explains behavior. It does not excuse behavior. The more emotionally mature you become, the more you can hold two truths at the same time. You can say, I understand why you feel this way. And also, I will not accept being treated this way. Both can be true. This is what healthy boundaries look like. They are not walls, they are doors with handles. You decide when to open, you decide when to close, and the purpose is not to punish another person. The purpose is to protect what is valuable: your time, your energy, your dignity, your inner peace, your identity. When you protect these things, something interesting happens. You become less desperate to be chosen, and when desperation leaves, clarity enters. You begin seeing people as they are, instead of seeing them through the lens of your fear. You stop asking, "How can I make him stay?" and begin asking, "Is this relationship worthy of staying in?" Or, that is a completely different question. One gives your power away, the other brings it back. And there is something else you must understand. A mature man does not need a woman who has no identity. He needs a woman who knows who she is. Because when two people have identities, they can genuinely choose each other. But when one person has no identity outside the relationship becomes their entire world. Then every disagreement feels like a disaster. Every moment of distance feels like abandonment. Every independent decision feels like rejection. And love becomes heavy, very heavy. But when you have your own center, you can love without clinging. You can miss someone without losing yourself. You can disagree without panicking. You can walk beside someone without needing them to carry your entire sense of worth. This is the strange truth. The more securely you belong to yourself, the healthier your ability to belong with another person becomes. You do not need to become distant, you need to become rooted. A tree with deep roots can bend in the wind without falling. A tree with shallow roots may break because every movement feels dangerous. The same is true for a human being. If your identity is deeply rooted, life can change around you without destroying you. A relationship can end and you will grieve, but you will still know who you are. A relationship can become difficult and you will not immediately abandon yourself to save it. Someone can disagree with you and you will not assume you are worthless. That is inner stability, and perhaps this is one of the greatest forms of attraction. Not perfection, not constant availability, not endless sacrifice. Inner stability. A person who knows who they are is not easy to manipulate. They do not need to dominate. They do not need to control. They simply know their values. They know their limits. They know what they can give. They know what they cannot give. And they are not afraid to say it. This is why keeping your identity in a relationship is not merely about making someone attracted to you. It is about becoming a person who can love without disappearing. And once you learn that, another question appears. Because even if you keep your identity, there is still one thing that can quietly destroy respect inside a relationship. It happens when you believe that being kind means allowing everything. And when kindness loses its boundaries, something beautiful can become something dangerous. That brings us to the next truth. 4. She ignores the difference between kindness and weakness. Kindness is one of the greatest strengths a human being can possess. But kindness without discernment can become self-destruction. This is something many people misunderstand. They believe that a good woman must always be patient, always forgiving, always understanding, always available, always gentle, always willing to give another chance. But there is a question we must ask. How many chances can you give before a chance becomes permission? That question changes everything, because forgiveness and tolerance are not the same. Forgiveness means, I release the desire to punish you for what happened. Tolerance can mean, I will allow the same behavior to continue. You can forgive someone and still leave. You can understand someone and still say no. You can love someone and still create distance. You can wish someone well and still decide that they no longer have access to your life. This is not cruelty. This is wisdom. A compassionate person does not need to become a victim in order to prove that they are compassionate. Think about a doctor. A good doctor wants the patient to heal. But if the doctor sees a wound, the doctor does not say, I don't want to hurt the patient, so I will ignore it. No, the wound must be treated. Sometimes treatment is uncomfortable, sometimes it hurts, but temporary discomfort can prevent deeper damage. Boundaries work in a similar way. They may create discomfort in the short term, but they can prevent resentment and emotional damage in the long term. A woman may think, if I tell him this behavior is unacceptable, he may become angry. Perhaps he will, but another person's anger is not always proof that your boundary is wrong. Sometimes people become angry when they discover they can no longer control the situation. This is why you must learn to distinguish between guilt and responsibility. You are responsible for how you treat people. You are not responsible for controlling every emotion they experience. If you say no respectfully and someone becomes disappointed, you can have compassion for their disappointment. But you do not have to change your answer simply because they are unhappy. This is emotional maturity, and it is especially important in romantic relationships. Because if every boundary is followed by guilt, eventually there are no boundaries. You begin saying yes when you mean no. You begin accepting things that hurt you. You begin making excuses. You begin thinking, maybe I'm expecting too much. And slowly you teach yourself that your own feelings are less important than keeping someone else comfortable. That is where kindness becomes weakness. Not because kindness itself is weak, but because kindness has been separated from self-respect. Real kindness has a spine. It can say, I care about you. And in the same breath, but I will not allow this. That is powerful. There is nothing aggressive about it. You do not need to shout. You do not need to threaten. You do not need to prove that you are strong. You simply need to be clear. Clarity is stronger than anger. A calm no can be more powerful than 100 emotional arguments. And the reason is simple. Anger often asks the other person to understand your pain. A boundary tells them what you will do with that pain. For example, I will not continue a conversation when I am being insulted. That is a boundary. It does not say, you must never become angry. It says, if disrespect enters the conversation, I will step away. Or, that is within your control. Or, I care about you, but I cannot continue lending money. Again, you are not controlling the other person. You are deciding what you will participate in. This is the difference between control and boundaries. Control says, you must behave the way I want. A boundary says, you are free to choose, and I am free to choose what I will accept. That is freedom. And strangely enough, relationships often become healthier when both people understand this. Because respect grows when consequences are real. If someone repeatedly breaks a promise and nothing changes, why would they take the promise seriously? If someone repeatedly crosses a boundary and the boundary is never enforced, eventually it stops being a boundary. It becomes a request, and requests can be ignored. This does not mean becoming harsh. It means making your words consistent with your actions. If you say, I cannot stay in a relationship where there is repeated disrespect, then you must be prepared to act according to that principle. Otherwise, you teach both yourself and the other person that your words have no weight. And this is where many good women become trapped. They set boundaries emotionally, but they do not maintain them practically. They say, then they return the next morning. They say, I won't accept this anymore. Or, then they accept it again. They say, this is the last time. Then there is another last time. Eventually, the other person may stop listening. But more importantly, you stop listening to yourself. That is the deeper danger. Every time you betray your own boundary, you weaken trust in yourself. And self-trust is essential. You should be able to tell yourself, when I say I will protect myself, I mean it. Not because you want to become rigid, but because you deserve to feel safe inside your own decisions. There is also a profound difference between being difficult and having standards. A woman with standards is not demanding perfection. She is asking for consistency. She does not require someone to never make mistakes. She requires them to take responsibility. She does not expect someone to never become angry. She expects them not to use anger as a weapon. She does not expect someone to understand everything immediately. She expects them to be willing to learn. She does not demand that someone never fail. She asks whether they can repair what they damage. That is reasonable, and this is where maturity separates itself from fantasy. Every human being will make mistakes. The question is not, will this person ever hurt me? The better question is, what does this person do after they hurt me? Do they deny it? Do they blame you? Do they manipulate you? Do they make themselves the victim? Or do they say, I was wrong? I understand why that hurt you. I will do better. Sir, that tells you far more about character than 100 romantic promises. Because character is not revealed when everything is easy. Character is revealed when a person is uncomfortable, when they are angry, when they are disappointed, when they are told no, when they do not get what they want. That is when you learn who someone really is. And you must also learn who you are in those moments. Can you remain calm when someone is disappointed with you? Can you hold your boundary without becoming cruel? Can you forgive without forgetting the lesson? Can you love without becoming blind? Can you say no without feeling like a bad person? These are signs of emotional strength. Because the goal is not to become harder, the goal is to become wiser. A stone is hard, but a stone does not understand. Wisdom is different. Wisdom can remain soft without becoming weak. It can remain compassionate without becoming blind. It can forgive without returning to the same harmful pattern. It can love without surrendering dignity. That is the balance. And perhaps this is what a truly good woman eventually discovers. Being good does not mean being endlessly available for mistreatment. Being good means having a heart that does not become cruel simply because it has been hurt. But having a good heart also means having enough wisdom to protect it. You do not need to hate someone to leave them. You do not need revenge to move forward. You do not need to prove that they were a terrible person. Sometimes you simply recognize, this relationship is not healthy for me. And you walk away with dignity. That is strength. Because sometimes the most loving thing you can do for another person is stop enabling the version of them that hurts both of you. If you continually rescue someone from the consequences of their behavior, they may never learn. If you continually forgive without requiring change, forgiveness can become permission. If you continually accept disrespect because you want to be the good woman, you may eventually become bitter. And bitterness is often what happens when kindness has been given without boundaries for too long. You begin keeping score. I did this. I sacrificed that. I forgave you. I stayed. I supported you. And now you expect the other person to repay you with love. But love cannot be demanded as payment for sacrifice. That is why healthy kindness must be free. Give because you choose to give. Help because you genuinely want to help. Forgive because you want peace. But never confuse these actions with a contract that says, now you owe me your love. No human being can be forced into genuine love, and no amount of sacrifice can purchase it. This realization can be painful, but it can also make you free, because now you can stop performing goodness. You can simply become good while remaining whole. You can care without chasing. You can give without begging. You can forgive without returning to what destroys you. You can remain soft without becoming available to every hand that reaches toward you. And perhaps the deepest lesson is this. A good heart needs a wise mind beside it. The heart tells you to care. Wisdom tells you where to place that care. The heart tells you to forgive. Wisdom asks whether anything has changed. The heart tells you to stay. Wisdom asks whether staying is helping you grow or teaching you to disappear. The heart sees potential. Wisdom observes reality. When these two work together, you become neither cold nor naive. You become balanced. And balance is where healthy love begins. Because the right person will not ask you to choose between kindness and self-respect. They will not require you to abandon your identity. They will not make you feel guilty for having boundaries. They will not need you to destroy yourself to prove your love. They will understand that two people can stand firmly on their own feet and still walk together. And when you understand this, something changes inside you. You stop trying to become the perfect woman for someone else. You start becoming a complete woman for yourself. You stop asking, how can I make him value me? And begin asking, does the way he treats me reflect the value I know I have? That question is quiet, but it can change your entire life, because once you stop abandoning yourself for love, you become capable of seeing love much more clearly. And then you begin to notice another hidden trap, one that has nothing to do with how much you give, how much you sacrifice, or how kind you are. It begins inside the mind. It happens when you start looking to another person to tell you that you are enough. And when your sense of worth depends on someone else's attention, even the strongest woman can slowly lose her inner freedom. 5. She seeks validation instead of inner security. There is a question many people ask without saying it aloud. Am I enough? Sometimes it hides behind a smile, sometimes it hides behind achievement, sometimes it hides behind beauty, and sometimes it hides inside a relationship. A woman may appear confident from the outside. She may be intelligent, successful, kind, independent. She may know how to take care of everyone around her. But inside there may still be a quiet fear. What if he stops loving me? And when this fear becomes stronger than inner security, something changes. You no longer experience love simply as love. You begin experiencing it as confirmation. His attention tells you that you are beautiful. His messages tell you that you are important. His affection tells you that you are worthy. His desire tells you that you are attractive. His commitment tells you that you are enough. And when he becomes distant, even for a short time, something inside you begins to shake. You think, what happened? Did I do something wrong? Is he losing interest? Or is there another woman? Am I not attractive enough anymore? The mind begins creating stories. And sometimes the greatest suffering does not come from what is happening. It comes from what the mind imagines might be happening. This is why inner security is so important. Because when you do not know your own value, you begin asking other people to confirm it for you. And the problem is simple. No person can give you enough validation to permanently silence your insecurity. You may receive 100 compliments, but if you do not believe you are worthy, the 100th compliment will still not be enough. You may receive constant attention, but if your confidence depends on attention, the moment attention disappears, your confidence disappears with it. This creates a dangerous cycle. You feel insecure, so you seek reassurance. He reassures you. You feel better for a while. Then the fear returns, so you ask again. He reassures you again. And slowly, reassurance becomes a kind of emotional medicine that you need more and more often. This does not mean that wanting reassurance is wrong. Human beings need affection. We need connection. We need to know that we matter to the people we love. The problem begins when reassurance becomes the foundation of your identity. There is a difference between saying, "It feels good to know that you love me," and saying, "Unless you constantly prove that you love me, I cannot feel okay about myself." The first is intimacy, the second is dependence, and dependence creates fear. When you depend on someone else's attention to feel valuable, you become extremely sensitive to every change. A delayed message feels like rejection. A short answer feels like anger. A busy day feels like loss of interest. A disagreement feels like the beginning of the end. You begin watching, checking, analyzing, comparing. You notice every small change in his behavior. And instead of being present in the relationship, you become a detective inside it. But love cannot breathe when every moment is being investigated. There is something deeply peaceful about knowing, if someone loves me, I will receive that love. If someone does not, I will still remain whole. That is inner security. It does not mean you do not care. It means you care without abandoning yourself. You can love someone deeply and still know that their opinion does not determine your worth. You can enjoy their affection without making their affection your oxygen. You can appreciate their attention without becoming addicted to it. This is an important distinction, because there is a hidden form of control in constant validation seeking, not always intentional, but it is there. When you constantly need someone to reassure you, you are asking them to manage an emotion that ultimately belongs to you. You are saying, without saying it, "Please make me feel safe." And if they cannot do it perfectly, you become disappointed. But no partner can permanently carry another person's insecurity. They can support you, they can reassure you, they can love you, but they cannot build your self-worth for you. That work must eventually happen inside. Think about a cup. If the cup is empty, you may keep asking another person to fill it. They pour, you feel better, but the cup becomes empty again, so you ask them to pour again, and again, and again. But what happens if the cup has a hole in the bottom? No matter how much the other person pours, it never stays full. The solution is not always more love from outside. Sometimes the solution is repairing the hole within. That hole may come from old experiences. Perhaps you were criticized when you were young. Perhaps you were compared to others. Perhaps someone made you feel that you had to earn love. Perhaps a previous relationship betrayed you. Perhaps you learned that being useful was the easiest way to receive affection. Whatever the origin, the pattern can continue long after the original situation is gone. And now you may be an adult, but part of you is still asking, am I worthy of being chosen? Sure, the answer cannot depend on one person's decision, because people choose for many reasons. Sometimes people leave good people, sometimes people fail to recognize good qualities, sometimes people are emotionally unavailable, sometimes two good people simply are not compatible. Someone rejecting you does not automatically mean there is something wrong with you. And someone choosing you does not automatically mean you are worthy. Your worth existed before their decision. That is the point. If someone says yes to you, your worth does not increase. If someone says no, your worth does not decrease. The decision belongs to them. Your worth belongs to you. This understanding changes how you approach relationships. You stop trying to perform for love. You stop thinking, if I am beautiful enough, kind enough, patient enough, successful enough, then he cannot leave. But there is no such formula. A relationship is not an examination where you can achieve a perfect score and guarantee the result. Two people are constantly choosing. Two people are constantly changing. Two people are constantly revealing who they are. The healthiest question is not, how do I make sure he never leaves? It is, can we create a relationship where both of us freely want to remain? That is a much healthier foundation, and freedom is essential. If someone stays because they are afraid to leave, that is not love. If someone stays because they feel guilty, that is not love. If someone stays because you constantly convince them, that is not security. But when someone is free to leave and still chooses to stay, their choice carries meaning. That is why inner security makes relationships stronger. You no longer have to hold someone tightly. You can open your hand, and when you open your hand, something remarkable happens. You discover whether the person beside you is there because they want to be or because you are holding them there. This is why a secure woman does not need to compete with every other woman. She does not need to constantly prove that she is prettier, smarter, more desirable, more interesting. She understands, I do not need to win every comparison. I only need to know who I am. Comparison is one of the fastest ways to lose inner peace. You see another woman and immediately begin measuring yourself, her appearance, her body, her career, her confidence, her relationship, her lifestyle. But you are comparing your private reality to someone else's public image. You do not know what happens behind the door. You do not know her fears. You do not know her struggles. You do not know what she has sacrificed. And even if she is everything you think she is still not you. A good woman does not need to become less loving. She needs to become more conscious of where her love goes. Do not trade your identity for attachment. Do not trade your peace for attention. Do not trade your self-respect for the hope that someone will eventually become different. Give from strength, not fear. Love from fullness, not emptiness. And choose people not only for the future you can imagine with them, but for the reality they are willing to build with you today. Because the deepest form of love is not losing yourself in another person. It is becoming whole within yourself and then freely choosing to walk beside someone who is also willing to walk beside you.